G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. And I've just gone for a bit of a drive today, and believe it or not, I'm at Rhodes, and I just can't believe the amount of development that has happened around here. Absolutely amazing. It's one of those beautiful still days. Let me just do a 360. And you can see the water is a mill pond. Not a ripple on the water, and perfect reflection. Just amazing. I'll just go all the way around. I remember coming down here years ago when my friend John DeBassis was a real estate agent selling these apartments. I think he had a number of apartments that he had to sell, and he was struggling to get through them. He did sell quite a few of them, but it was a big challenge, I remember. But the ones who bought, the ones who bit the bullet and bought off the plan are certainly benefiting from that decision, because I'd imagine that the price of these have gone through the roof over the past decade. But Sydney just continues to grow and to become more and more beautiful with the amount of investment that is pumped into this city in terms of infrastructure, in terms of construction, you name it. It's all happening, and it's all been happening here for a long, long time. And I often have debates with people about the importance of investment, the importance of foreign direct investment, because it's through investment, regardless of where it comes from, where you create jobs, where you generate projects, and where you create the future for your community and for future generations. Anyway, let's move off and do a walk and talk about a very interesting topic that I have this morning. And the topic that we'll go through is from a book summary entitled Relationship Goals by Michael Todd. Michael Todd put together his thoughts in a book entitled Relationship Goals, and hopefully we'll be able to pick out a few items from his writings, from his learnings, and see if we can incorporate them into our own very lives. So the first formal point to come out of this book here is where the author says something very, very interesting, but I guess very, very true as well. For those who may not have been or may not have a fruitful relationship in their lives, the following message may resonate. So the author here says that trying to find the perfect person will keep you single forever. Trying to find the perfect person will keep you single forever. So adjust your relationship goals accordingly. Sorry for laughing there, but I find that point so funny. I guess the lesson is, we're going to try and tick as many boxes as we can when it comes to finding the right partner. But in terms of finding the perfect person, just like we are not perfect ourselves, then trying to find somebody else who is perfect is also something which is going to be very, very difficult. And really, you don't really want to find the perfect person, because if they're perfect, they're going to be impossible to live with anyway. So the author then goes on to talk about a few other things that a lot of us have learnt over time, that relationships are hard and messy. So in order to survive the relationship thing, and I'm glad to say that I've been in a relationship for a long, long time with my wife, my darling, my beautiful wife, Paula. I've been married for 36 years come October, and we've been together for almost 40. Wow, almost 40 years. My long-suffering wife, Paula. I can't believe that you've been with me for almost 40 years. But the author reminds us that most of us suck at trying to find a perfect relationship, because as the author suggests and reminds us, it just doesn't exist. Now, the whole concept of a perfect relationship is farcical. You're just not going to meet somebody who's going to be the perfect partner, and you're not going to endure and enjoy a perfect relationship, because all relationships have their ups and downs. So the bottom line, the big call to action from this author, is that we basically need to be realistic in what we want. And first and foremost is we need to examine ourselves and see who we are, and how can we ever possibly hope to have the perfect relationship and the perfect partner when we are so flawed, I guess is one way of putting it, in so many ways ourselves. The next point that the author makes in this book is that we need to give ourselves the best chance, at least, of finding a partner in the first place. So how do we do this? The author gives us some very, very valuable advice. So listen up to those who don't have a relationship, for those who are young, and for those who hope one day to be in a relationship, have a family, and to be able to stand and get through the test of time. So the author then gives us another call to action, is that we really need to become, each and every one of us, first needs to become the best person you can be whilst you're single. Don't wait until you get married. Don't wait until you get into a relationship to try and improve and to try and learn to be the best version of yourself. You need to be working on this stuff well before you fall into a relationship or come into a relationship, because becoming the best person you can be whilst you're still single is the surest way to guarantee a strong marriage. So we need to do the homework. We need to do the hard yards up front, nice and early, well before Mr. or Mrs. Right come into our lives. So try to develop the qualities you want in your future partner, in your future spouse. I think that is very, very interesting and very, very powerful. So we basically need to generate those things, those traits that we're looking for in ourselves in order to attract them into our lives in the first place. And the big challenges that we all face is that most people take their relationship advice and their relationship cues from the television, from the movies, from celebrities, and then wonder why they end up ruining their relationships while still single. They never get past, the first base, because they've got a warped and a very damaged sense of what a relationship is, and they're very, very selfish and very, very, misaligned from the very, very beginning. So the author then goes on to say that as singles we need to prepare ourselves for our futures by getting to know ourselves first and understanding what your purpose is. understanding yourself and knowing what your purpose is something that's going to be a very, very important step in your development stage in order to becoming the best potential partner for somebody else. So, we all go through a phase or a number of phases, and we start with singleness when we're just by ourselves. Then we start dating, we get engaged, we eventually hopefully get married. A lot of people don't even get married, and yet they want to live together. Then we share love, we share children, and then we share the ultimate level, which is the companionship, where you can live and love each other without expecting too much from each other. So the last point to come out of this book is a word of advice from the author, and I think it's very, very sound advice at that, where the author says that when you get married, when you're in a relationship, you need to keep it fresh. You need to keep it young. You need to keep it energized. And the best way of doing that is to organize wherever you can to go on dates with your spouse, even though you're married, even though you've got children, dating your spouse after you are married, and to continue to improve yourself, to not let yourself go, to not to give up, and to cruise, and to pile on the weight, and to pile on the whinging and the carry on, but to look after yourself and to try and be the very, very best version of yourself, even though you're married. Even though you're married for 10 or 20 years, you should never give up on yourself, because you are a gift to your partner, and that gift needs to keep on giving. And you will understand that initially all relationships start the same. They start with puppy love, where you just love being around the other person, and both partners are always on their best behaviour, being careful not to reveal too much of themselves or too much of their negative selves, and they spend a lot of time trying to impress and overly impress each other and all the others around them. And it doesn't take much effort to be in puppy love and to have a good time with your partner, because everything about them is just perfect, because they make it so, and you make it so too, with the way you see them and the way you impress each other. It's a survival mechanism to make sure that you attract and secure at least somebody in your life. And then reality hits. You have children, you have a mortgage, you have your arguments, you have the stresses from the in-laws, from your workmates, from third parties, you name it. Life can get a little bit complicated. But as the author says, we need to continue. Each and every one of us needs to continue to work on yourself, to improve yourself, so you stay married and you stay relevant, you stay connected, and you need to maintain your health, both physical and mental, and be emotionally stable, is the message from this book. So the lesson is, don't give up. Don't let yourself go, but keep on working on yourself and stay connected for as long as you can with your partners, to ensure that you have a long and healthy relationship together, and that you have shared goals. Anyway, there you go. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club from down here at Rhodes. It truly has transformed. This place is a very, very different place to what it was maybe 20 years ago before the Olympics, And as you can see, there are buildings, there's infrastructure, there's just developments everywhere which have made this place transform from a swampland, from a place you wouldn't want to come to a place where thousands and thousands of people live and enjoy this vibrant village style of atmosphere. Anyway, I'll finish up now, so thank you for joining me on this episode of Relationship Goals by Michael Todd, a book summary, yet another book summary that we've churned through, and I'm well over 1,000 vlogs in English and cruising. I'm just cruising at the moment, so absolutely no pressure. I'll try and do 1 or 2 vlogs a day for as long as I can, because I love learning. I love learning, and because I love learning, I love sharing as well. So hopefully we can all get a couple of lessons out of this book, and so we can be the wind beneath our wings, so we can be partners in each other's growth and development, and we can hopefully live, learn and pass it on. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I think I'll hit the road now, go back home and see what's happening, and we'll chat again. Yassas, Nefilakya from Jim's 5am Club, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.